The Treaty of Versailles was the most important of the peace treaties that brought World War I to an end. The treaty ended the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. It was signed on 28 June 1919, exactly 5 years after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The other Central Powers on the German side of World War I signed separate treaties. Although the armistice signed on November 11, 1918, ended the actual fighting, it took 6 months of Allied negotiations at the Paris Peace Conference to conclude the peace treaty.
The treaty was signed on June 28, 1919, after months of argument and negotiation amongst the so-called Big Three as to what the treaty should contain. The Big Three were David Lloyd George of Britain, Clemenceau of France, and Woodrow Wilson of America. David Lloyd George of Great Britain had two views on how Germany should be treated. His public image was simple. He was a politician, and politicians needed the support of the public to succeed in elections. If he had come across as being soft on Germany, he would have been speedily voted out of office. The British public was after revenge, and Lloyd George's public image reflected his mood. Hang the Kaiser and make Germany pay were two very common calls in the era immediately after the end of the war, and Lloyd George, looking for public support, echoed these views. George's Clemenceau of France had one very simple belief. Germany should be brought to its knees so that she could never start a war again. This reflected the views of the French public, but it was also what Clemenceau himself believed in. He had seen the northeast corner of France destroyed, and he determined that Germany should never be allowed to do this again. Quote-unquote, the tiger did not have to adapt his policies to suit the French public. The French leader and the French public both thought alike. Woodrow Wilson of America had been genuinely stunned by the savagery of the Great War. He could not understand how an advanced civilization could have reduced itself so that it had created so much devastation. In America, there was a growing desire for the government to adopt a policy of isolation and leave Europe to its own devices. In failing health, Wilson wanted America to concentrate on itself, and despite developing the idea of a